Hello, everyone. Welcome to this live English lesson. We'll get started for real in about 40 seconds. I first want to make sure everything is working the way it's supposed to. As you can see, if you can see a little glimpse of the outdoors, it's a little too cold outside to do any kind of live English lesson. So we'll just let that be for now. And hopefully this lesson does start. It hasn't started yet for me. It says it's going, but it hasn't shown up on my screen yet. Is there a delay? Oh, I think it's working. When I hit refresh, it started working. So we'll start in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. There we go. Hello, everyone, and welcome to this live English lesson where you can ask me questions, and I will do my best to answer those questions. As you can see, I am not outside today. So yesterday morning, I did a lesson on the weather and natural disasters. And I mentioned that yesterday morning, it was just a little bit above zero. It was about 2 or 3 degrees Celsius out. And then by last night, it was, I think, minus 12. And this morning right now, I believe it's minus 9 or something like that. Let me have a look here. I can pull up my weather right here on the computer. Oh, it's minus 11 right now. I went for a walk this morning and it didn't feel that cold when I went for my walk. I was bundled up. I had my winter coat and my gloves. It's kind of all laying on the floor down there. And once you walk for about 10 or 15 minutes, your body starts to generate heat anyway. So it wasn't too bad. I would have guessed though that it was only minus 6, but I guess it's minus 11. But anyways, yes, if you look, you can see outside there's a bit of snow on the ground. It snowed last night. North of here was even worse. Okay, over to the chat. Hello to Salome, Know That, Mode Eggs, Paco-san, Freddie Wolf, Nyin An, Happy Sunshine, Renata, Guzal, let's see here, Roman, MD Farid, Lolly is here, Freddie Wolf, Judith, scrolling back, Hafiez, I'm starting to say names twice, Moomin Mirza, I think I'm learning how to pronounce your name as best as I can. John is here as well. Good to see all of you. It's good to see familiar faces as well as new people. So how does this work? This is an English Q&A lesson. You will be able to ask a question using the form that Nightbot will link. Let me just make sure that the link, let's get the link up in the chat. And then once Nightbot posts it, I will pin it. Let me pin that for a second. I will pin that in the chat. So if you have a question, please use that link to ask it. It's just very helpful. It keeps all the questions in order. And remember, you only have one question. You can ask one question. Usually there's far too many people for more than one question per person. And I'll try to answer all of them. Sometimes I'm able to do that. Sometimes I am not. So let's see here. Brent's here listening while doing chores. Have a good stream. You know, it's interesting. When Brent uses the word chores, in my mind, I imagine he's on a farm doing chores, feeding calves, but he is doing chores in his house. For me as a kid, we always use the word chores to talk about chores in the barn, but Brent doesn't have a barn. He's using the word correctly, by the way. I'm not correcting him. He's simply doing chores around the house right now. So good to see you, Brent. Hope you're having a good day down there. I'm not sure if our weather made it out to you, but right now it's certainly cold. Yeah, let me get the first question. Oh, questions are flowing in. Let me get the first question on the screen from Know That. Hello, Bob. Personal question. Do you have any bigger projects planned that you want to tackle this year? Like last year with your new windows and driveway entrance area? Thanks, sir. So no, Jen and I have declared this the year to not spend too much money. We, I think, got a little carried away last year. When you get carried away, it means you do more than you plan to do. And so I hadn't planned to do the entrance of the barn and the entrance of the house and the entrance of the shed. So I think I spent a little bit too much money. So our plan this year, in a year where we don't do anything new, we usually try to clean things up. So I might be removing a fence and doing other small things around the farm. I'm just going to check focus for a sec here, people. Yes, it's definitely working. So that's the plan for this year. Just a few things here and there to spruce things up a bit. From Renata, hey Bob, how are you? I'm good. Could you please explain what the difference is between these three words, balcony, porch, and terrace? Thank you, sir. Have a wonderful weekend. So a balcony, to me, is a small platform with a door from an apartment or a hotel room in a building with multiple apartments or rooms. You can have a balcony on a house as well, but probably the most common balcony that I see would be on the side of an apartment building. So it has a railing so you don't fall off, and then a small area to stand or maybe have a barbecue. A porch, a traditional porch is on a house, and it's a shady roofed area around the side and the front of a house. Not a lot of houses have porches now. I'll try to find a house with a porch the next time I do a video in town, and I'll show you a porch. And then a terrace is any flat area where you can, stand outside and talk to people, have a dinner. Sometimes it's similar to a patio. I don't use the word terrace a lot. We generally use the word patio here a lot. So a level or paved area or platform next to a building, a patio or veranda. So my front entrance is kind of like a terrace. It's a lot of nice block and it's flat. So, and have a wonderful weekend. You too. Yes. Thank you for the question. From TryptoPal, which software do you use for editing? So I have the Adobe Suite for editing. I use Adobe Premiere Pro for all of my videos. I used to use iMovie, but I got to a point where I wanted to do a little more, and iMovie is amazing, but I wanted to start doing a little more, like multiple videos side by side on the screen and things like that. So my son taught me how to use Premiere Pro, and then for photos, I use Photoshop. So that's what I use for my editing. From Toda, do you want to talk about your children, like what they do? So I don't often talk about my kids. I think my plan is this: as my kids get older and become adults, I will always have an open invitation to them if they want to be in a video, but I'm not going to tell them they have to be in a video. I would never demand that. And then also, with the internet, I don't talk a lot about my kids or show pictures of my kids or put them in videos because I've chosen to be on the internet, but they haven't. So someday I might talk about them more. And similar to their lives, like what they do, that's not really something I want to share on the internet because it's their lives. People deserve a little bit of privacy, we say. So I will say things like, 2 of my kids are in university, et cetera, but it's normally not the topic that I focus on. Let me get a drink of water here. Then I will get the next question up. So Brent says to Mode and Hafiz, my brother is the best. I can vouch for that. Brent's brother is awesome. Got to know him last summer. He plowed early this morning before I woke up. We got a few inches overnight. Oh, that is a nice brother for sure. Very nice. And then let's see. Yes, pleasant and relaxed task. Just dishes and editing. Yep. Editing is kind of a fun thing. I think Brent and I share. It's kind of fun. Going out with a video camera and getting video can be nerve-wracking, especially if you do it in a public place. But once you're home and you're editing on your computer, it's a lot more enjoyable. So I do want to keep up with members in the chat. So if I do like to read through that. German says, hello, can your family speak other languages? No, it's just me speaking a little bit of French and English. Question from Troy. Oh, a pseudonym. So not Troy's real name. Can you recommend some TV shows on Amazon Prime? So I'm not 100% sure what's on Amazon Prime right now. But I do know if you have a subscription to BritBox and you want to learn British English, there are many shows on BritBox that you can watch. When I go to Amazon Prime, it links me to BritBox. So Brit is a short form of British. So BritBox is like a platform where you can watch British TV shows. And I would recommend Vera, Shetland, Unforgotten, Line of Duty. There are a number of British TV shows, detective shows that I love. So I'm not recommending them necessarily to learn English. I'm recommending them because they're fun to watch. Let me see here. From Judith. Hi, Bob. How many and which books have you read about lawyers, injustices, and lawsuits? Were they fictional, or real? Have a great time. So surprisingly, I love watching TV shows about law and order. There's actually one called Law and Order. But I don't often read books in that genre. When I read, I often read books that are science fiction. I'm currently reading a book called Alien Clay by Adrian Tchaikovsky. I think his name is Tchaikovsky. I should check that for a sec. Alien Clay. Adrian Tchaikovsky, yes. Which is about a person who gets sent to another planet because the government doesn't like him. And then he ends up discovering cool things about, I won't give you any spoilers. So even though I love watching British police procedurals, like shows about policemen and detectives and investigators, I don't actually read in that genre. So, but yes, I do like science fiction. Let's see. Mode says, I also tried this command yesterday. It looks like it's not available to members. What did Mode try? Let's see. Link. Yeah, link should work. Definitely. I think it did work for Mode there. Yes. I wonder if Mode was trying another command. There are a few different commands that you can try. Let me do a sound check because I did just get a little error on my computer. Yeah, good. Next question. Here we go. From Ananya Pal. Have you ever tried a VR virtual reality headset? I have. I've played Beat Saber, and I think that's it. I haven't bought one because they are very expensive, but I have a feeling that if VR catches on, when something catches on, it means everyone starts doing it. If VR catches on, at some point I would probably offer a live stream in VR where maybe I have a 360 camera on my property and everyone can sit by the river while I teach English. That would be really cool. So have I tried it? Yes. Do I own a VR headset? No. Will I buy one someday? Maybe if the price comes down. Let's see here. Tumpa, every gadget you use to record your videos. So I use my phone sometimes. I can point to things. They'll be a little blurry. That tripod there has a DJI Pocket 3 on it. Brent has one as well. We both use a similar camera. They're very handy. Let me grab it for a sec. So this is I would say in English, you would say, this is my go-to camera. This is the camera that I record almost everything on. The reason I like it is because it has a gimbal which stabilizes things. So as you move this, it keeps everything very, very smooth. Instead of like bumping up and down, when I walk, you can actually, I'll just put this back here. It makes for a better experience for all of you. I also use a Canon R6 for live streaming. It's a very expensive camera for live streaming, but I originally bought it to shoot video, but that just was simpler. And then I have, of course, my desktop computer there for editing. And then I have this laptop here that I'm sitting at for live streaming. And Jen actually uses it to edit her videos as well. Mode says to me, yes, the link command works. No, that was talking about the video command. Oh yeah, I don't think I ever turned that on for you guys. I should do that at some point. Brent says, yeah, the Pocket 3 is great. Yeah, it's handy. Although I should show you this. This, Brent will laugh when he sees this. This is electrical tape. And these two parts are now permanently connected because my camera blew over and it wrecked the little clips on the side. So I was very happy that the camera still works. But yes, that was, oh, and I found, there's a little lens that popped off and I found it back. I've lost that little lens twice. I keep talking about this camera. This little lens just comes off. It's not held on with anything except like a weak magnet. That would be my one complaint. I've lost that little lens twice and found it back twice. So I'm happy about that. Next question. From Ismail. Hello, Bob. When the phrase Lisianthus 100 pellets is printed on seed packaging, what does pellets mean in this context? Why is it used instead of seeds? So this might be related to one of Jen's videos. Sometimes seed is so small that they put a thick coating on the seed, and then we would call it a pellet. So because the seed is so small, it's hard to pick up and plant. They will make the seed bigger by coating it, sometimes in a starch or something else that will dissolve once it's in water. And then we would call it a pellet. It's just easier to see and easier to handle. Let's get to the next question. From Renan. How can I subscribe your closed classes in general English? So I don't currently offer any closed classes. Okay. So there's no members only classes. I do not offer private classes. I don't do one-on-one classes. So that's not available. You can become a member, and a member is a way to thank me for my work, but also you'll get a small lesson every Monday, a written lesson, and an extra kind of a casual video on Wednesday where I walk and talk a little bit. By the way, if you see, let me turn off this camera. If you see a little bit of steam rising, that's because that's where our furnace exhausts the hot air, I guess, because natural gas or propane, I think, doesn't produce anything other than water, and well, there's probably something else in there. Brent says, oh no, yeah, that little lens is not ideal. Lost one for good on a beach in Brazil. I'll never get that $50 back. Yeah, I almost feel like I should buy an extra one of those lenses now because I'm going to lose it. The chat and the answers are so interesting. I'm not getting my chores done. Oh, sorry about that, Brent. That's the risk you take when you watch the live stream. From Lolly Lolly. Let me get it up on the screen. Wait, did I finish answering the last one? I think I did. Are Canadians concerned or worried about Donald Trump's plan to impose 25% tariffs? Merci, Bob. I'll just say this. The next 4 years is going to be interesting. I think that in any relationship between people or between countries, things aren't always going to be perfect. And sometimes you need to go through a little bit of a rough patch, we would call it, in order for the relationship to become better. There are concerns that the US has about a trade imbalance with Canada. And if we never talked about it, it would never get better. It would never be something where both countries are happy. So I've never been someone who thinks that a good argument or a good discussion is bad. I think maybe the way things are happening are a little forceful, but I think that we're in for a good half year to a year of honest discussions between Canada and the United States. And I believe that it will end with trade agreements that hopefully are better for both countries. You know, there are things that the US really needs from Canada, and there are things that Canada really needs from the United States. So I think we'll figure it out. I don't think it's two countries arguing and then we won't be friends in the future. I think it's I don't know. Have you ever had it where you and your best friend got in an argument and then a few days later you reconcile and things are actually better? I think that's where we're at. I think that things will be fine, but I always believe that. Sometimes when I look around the world, things have happened that I didn't think would have happened. So I have to naively say it's going to be all right. Sometimes it's good to just put all your cards on the table. That's what we would say. So the US is going to put all their cards on the table. Canada will put all their cards on the table. And we'll talk about maple syrup and lumber and milk and cheese. And I don't know what else is all on the list, but we'll figure something out. Everything will be fine. Oh, did I just break my rule? I broke my rule about I don't usually talk about politics. That wasn't really politics though, right? That would be world issues. That's what I would say it is. There was more world issues. So let me see here. I actually can't tell who's walking outside. I think it's Jen. They're too far away now. Can't tell. Okay. That's a good question though, Lolly. I don't mind answering that type of political question. Are Canadians worried? I think some are, but we'll see how it goes. Ario, happy birthday, Ario. Howdy, Mr. Bobby. How are you? Hope you're as fit as a fiddle. It's been a while. Glad to see you live again. Nice to see you as well. Give me some tips to improve my speaking, please. So here's an interesting, there's lots of tips that I give, but I'll give this tip. Leaving comments on videos and participating in the chat during a live stream can actually help your speaking. I know it's writing, but when you write, it's another form of expressing yourself in English, and writing is actually good practice for speaking. Now, there's a million other things, like you can get a speaking partner, you can read out loud, you can shadow where you listen to someone and say what they're saying. Then that will help you quite a bit as well. But certainly practicing the actual speaking is a good idea. Let's see. Mode says, Lolly's asking political questions. Yes. Lolly says, thanks for the answer, Bob. No problem. Brent says, we'll add an extra star to our flag and the tariffs will go away. Oh, if only things were that simple. I wish things were as simple as that. That would help a lot. Unfortunately, we have. So here's the funny thing. Canada and the United States are so similar that can seem like a good idea. But when you really get down to it, we are vastly different as well. And here's one difference I would give is we have an entire province that is bilingual. So that's a very unique thing to Canada that the United States doesn't have. We have a few other things where it would be challenging, I think, to become a 51st state. Not the least of which most people don't want to be. So anyways, enough political stuff. Let me continue on. Know that saying hi to Natalia Illusion. Nice to see you, Natalia. Welcome to the live stream. Okay. From the talking horse. Hi there, Mr. Bob. How are you? Is won't the negative of will or want? Thanks. I will go to the store. I won't go to the store. I want to go to the store. I won't go to the store. Yeah, it's definitely the opposite of will. Like I will eat the pizza. I won't eat the pizza. I want pizza. I don't want pizza. See, there it's not the opposite of want. I think if you're expressing an opinion, oh, looks like my son is driving in. I think if you're expressing an opinion, like I want to eat pizza or I won't eat pizza, it's kind of an opposite. Anyways, and I also would like to know the days you do the Q&A. Have a great weekend. So the Q&A is on, excuse me, the Q&A is on the first Saturday of every month. That's when I do it. I used to do it every Saturday and that was too much. And I've often hinted at, I'd like to do more, but that would be too much, I think. So the first Saturday of every month, that is when I do the live lessons. From Medina, hi teacher, you're so kind person. Good luck, teacher. Thank you. I try to be kind, But I also like to remind people that I do YouTube because I love teaching you English, but I also do YouTube because it's kind of my job now. So part of my job, the way I earn a living, is by teaching you. So I'm happy that you like it that I'm kind, but I should also remind you that sometimes I'm grouchy, but I still try to make a lesson where I look kind. I would say 9 out of 10 times when you see me doing a live stream or when you watch one of my lessons, I'm in a good mood and I'm a kind, gentle, nice person. And then 1 time out of 10, I'm freezing and it's cold. I'm just trying to get the video done. And so I try to appear as nice and kind as I can, but inside I'm actually grumbling because I'm cold and I don't feel like making a lesson. Give me a second here. I'm going to give somebody a timeout. So please do not spam the chat. What are we going to do? 5 minutes? Let's do 5 minutes. So please don't spam the chat. 1 message is enough. Thank you. Thank you very much. Scrolling back, let me see some of the members here. Lolly says, I saw Jen, Oscar, and Walter. Yes, they are still around. Brent says, I would hate to see Canada as the 51st state. Such an absurd idea. You know, I think I don't want to be part of the United States. But as I said before, I think in the discussion, there are things we need to talk about. Like, I don't want to be a 51st state, but we should explore why people are thinking about that. I shall not eat the pizza, says Hafiz. Yes, that would work. Jen is really wrapped up, and if I saw it correctly, armed with a sled. Yes, possibly. Yeah, I think we are going to go tobogganing or sledding this afternoon. Okay. Next question from Mohammed. What do off and into mean in this sentence? Are you off hiking again? Yes, I am really into it at the moment. So if I put on my coat and put on my winter hat and gloves while I'm in the house early in the morning, Jen would probably say, oh, are you off for a walk again? Or are you off walking again? Which means, are you about to go do something that I know you do? Okay. So in that sentence or question is the knowledge that you know the person does that. Oh, are you off to do some archery in the barn? Are you off to visit your sister? So basically, are you leaving or going to go do that thing? When you're into something, it means you really like it. So if I was to say, oh, here's a great example. A lot of you are into learning English. It means you really like learning English. You try to learn a little bit every day and you try, wow, is it almost half an hour already? And you try to practice it every day. Oh, good. Everything is working. I like it when everything's working. Yeah, tobogganing is a very northern US / Canadian phrase. Like you definitely won't hear tobogganing in Texas, I don't think, but you'll hear it in Canada, Ontario, and northern states like upstate New York or Maine, that sort of place. Let me see here. Let's do one more question from Ahmed. Why don't you make podcast videos or some videos that where you're talking just about teaching about any topic? Okay, so I've thought about doing this. I've thought about making videos about how to teach English. A lot of people who watch my channel are actually English teachers from around the world. I noticed that because in the comments, a lot of people will say, I really appreciate your videos. I show my videos to my students. They love them as well. But I've never made a video about how to teach English. And I think that's what Ahmad is asking. I could do that someday. Not everyone would be super interested in watching it, but I could. We'll see. From Siobhan. Hi, Bob. Could you recommend a book for learning English? Thank you, sir. Why? I'm surprised you asked. I actually found this book quite handy. This is not a sponsored video. I'm not trying to sell this book. There's no link in the description. But I bought this book in order to make a video, which you can go and watch, by the way. And I thought it was pretty good. It's probably Like I would say it's definitely A1, A2, slightly B1 level. Like the general purpose of this book is to learn a lot of vocabulary and some phrases to use English in your daily life. So I thought it was pretty good. So this is Everyday English, or sorry, English for Everyone, Everyday English from DK Publishing. Did it focus on that? Yeah, it did. Hopefully you can see enough of that. It was $22 Canadian, so not cheap, but not expensive. That's, when I buy a novel, it's $9. So, but anyways, I thought that was a good book for learning English. It doesn't teach a lot of grammar, although it's not meant to, but I really enjoyed it. Yes. Okay, let's see here. Ralph says, honestly, a temporary grumpy Bob would be interesting. I often was the guy in a class who got the harsher words from a teacher. It often felt like knowing the teacher better afterwards. Yeah, when teachers act human, you actually do know them better for sure. Mode is asking, please use this form to submit your questions. Yes, thank you very much. Thanks, Mode, for being the bus patrol. So on our buses, there's always a student who is called a bus patrol, and they help the bus driver make sure the students behave properly. So I was just kind of using a little phrase there. German says, what did your wife study? Thank you. My wife actually is a certified high school math teacher, but she has not taught for many, many years. She is now a flower farmer. So that is what Jen does. Okay, let's get to the next. No, let's get into members here. You guys have a look at the river and the great outdoors, and I will turn on members only chat. So if you are a member, first of all, thank you. Members are people who have decided to join the channel and pay a small amount of money each month. In exchange, they get their name in green during a live lesson. They get to participate in members only chat. They get a small lesson on Mondays, most Mondays, about 45 times a year. They get an extra video on Wednesdays called Wednesdays with Bob, where I don't necessarily teach English, but it is me just talking for 3 minutes about my life, and it's probably good listening practice. So if you're interested, there's a join button below, and if you are a member, you can ask questions in the chat right now. And I will, of course, keep answering questions from over here. From Moomin Mirza, hi Bob, can you tell us about Canadian culture and traditional holidays? So Canada is actually quite similar to most European countries. The holidays we celebrate were, I think, originally religious holidays. So we have Christmas. We also have New Year's Eve, New Year's Day. We have Valentine's Day, which is more of a romantic day. It's not a holiday, but it's definitely part of the culture where you go out with your loved one for dinner maybe, or buy them flowers. We have Mother's Day and Father's Day. We have Easter. We celebrate Good Friday as a holiday. We have in Canada something called Civic Holiday in August, where we get the day off. We, of course, celebrate July 1st as Canada Day. Culturally, we enjoy a lot of things in the winter if we are in a province that gets winter. And we enjoy all of the normal summer things that you would enjoy, like going to the beach. Although in Canada, we might spend more time going north to a cottage or lake to do some fishing or water skiing or something like that. So in a nutshell, that's what Canadians do. The funny thing is, when I said that Canadians and Americans are very similar, but also vastly different, if you went to the province of Maine, where Brent is from, culturally, all of the things I just said, it's probably the same things people from the state of Maine do. They probably go north in the winter. There's probably just as many snowmobiles there per capita as there is in Canada. Anyways, to the chat. Know that saying hi to Ralph. Mode says, what did John McClane mean by now I know what a TV dinner feels like as he was crawling through the air vent? Was it because he was in a tight space and felt like being in a microwave? I think it was hot in the air vent. I think it was crowded. I think that he was I don't know if the heat was on in that air vent. I don't remember. I do remember that part. Doesn't he have his lighter in the vent so he can see? I don't think he has a flashlight. But that's what I would say he was saying. Maybe not so much a microwave, maybe a TV dinner that you put in the oven. 25, 30 years ago, people had TV dinners that you would put in the oven, but now everything gets microwave. Ralph is saying, hey, long time no see to know that. Well, about 24 hours. Yes, a lot of us were here yesterday for this lesson where we talked about weather and natural disasters. By the way, this will come out again tomorrow, a shorter version if you missed it, and you can go and watch that. Members only mode. No, that says maybe it's a little early for this, but may I ask if you and Jen already know or have decided if she wants to continue with her channel? We don't know. We do know that it's difficult for Jen to think of ideas for her weekly videos on her channel right now because nothing's really happening on the farm, although she is starting to plant seeds and she does go places occasionally. In fact, last week, her video showcased Jen and I going to a farmer's conference. So we don't know yet. 52 weeks is just around the corner and she will let everyone know. Sylvan, Winterlude has just started yesterday in Ottawa, Gatineau, our winter festival. Lots of fun. I hear it's actually cold enough in Ottawa to go skating on the Rideau Canal. Hopefully that's still the case. Afia says, that's a name I haven't heard in a while to mode. I'm guessing the food TV dinner going in the intestines like crawling through an air vent. Yes. Freddie says, France has a direct border with Canada, Saint-Pierre et Miquelon. I would imagine that this would change in Canada becoming the 51st state. No way. Do you hear that, Donald? So believe it or not everyone knows this, but in the Atlantic Ocean off the coast of Canada, there are two small islands that are actually part of France. So if I really wanted to go to France and didn't want to fly all the way to the continental Europe, I could just go to one of those little islands, Saint-Pierre and Miquelon. And Freddie, there's a TV show. There's actually an English TV show right now. I think it's called Saint-Pierre that takes place on one of those islands. Very cool. Freddie says, Bob, about your semester system, if you taught French during the first semester, would you restart a new French session during the second semester? Or is it over for French for the rest of the school year? So this is what I think is a problem with the semester system. My French students who I have in my classes now haven't had French since the fall of 2023. So they took it in the fall of 2023 when they were in grade 10. And then a whole year has gone by. And now they are in grade 11 French. And it's the spring of 2025. So I actually think if you're learning a language, it would be better to learn it for 45 minutes every day of the whole school year. Because with a semester system, you take breaks. So hopefully that answered it. No, that says, speaking of Jen's channel, Bob, has Jen already thought of something special for her 1-year anniversary here on YouTube? No, but here's what's different about Jen's channel. When I make an English lesson, I don't have a lot of extra footage. Like I go out, I teach the little clips and I put them all together. But Jen actually has a lot of extra footage. When you talk about video, footage is like all of the files of things that when you hit the start button on the camera, that people can see. And so she might do something with that, with all of the extra footage. Mode says, so let me get this straight. Was Ralph trying to say that we need to get on the teacher's nerves to really know what makes them tick? I'm intrigued. Possibly. I've always firmly believed that the more a teacher acts like a real person, the better students will listen to that teacher. So I guess what I'm saying is some teachers can be a certain way in class, but in real life, they're different. I like it when the teacher you get in class is the same person. You know how people can have two different personalities? That's what I would say. Know that, Bob, could you explain the meaning of the phrase to leave someone in the lurch and give some examples of its usage? Yes, when you leave someone in a lurch, I would use instead of the. You can use both. Let's say my brother wanted to borrow my car for a week And then he wants to pick it up Monday morning and bring it back Friday. And then late Sunday night, I just say, you can't have it anymore. You can't borrow my car. I left him in a lurch. He's in a situation where it's late Sunday night. It's too late to find somewhere else to borrow a car from. So I've created great difficulty for him. Let's get the official meaning. Meaning of leave someone in a lurch. I haven't heard that phrase for a while, but we do use it. Abandon or desert someone in difficult straits. Okay. Jane quit her job without telling her boss, leaving her boss in a lurch. There we go. Yes. By the way, it's from a 16th century French dice game, Lurch. Interesting. I'll have to look up how to play that at some point. Okay, let's see here. Brent says, I'll be in France in 2 weeks. Oh, very nice. Yeah, you have an earlier break than me, I think. I'm still 4 weeks away from spring break. Have a good trip. Hafiez, Saint-Pierre is a Canadian police procedural television series that premiered in the 2024-25 season on CBC television. Correct. That is the show. Thanks, Hafiez, for looking that up. And then he says, ooh la la to Brent. Mode says, France d'outre-mer. I think that's what it's called, which means overseas French. Oui, je pense que c'est correct. Oh, I got to check something here, everybody. Give me a second. Yeah, everything's good. Let's see. I'm getting lost here in the chat. By the way, if you're one of the 353 people watching, don't forget to click a subscribe button somewhere. You'll get notified when a new lesson comes out. Ralph says to Mode, well, I was often late at school or university and sometimes off topic or not concentrating. Little fixes there. So it was easy to get a harsher tone from the teachers, but not with Bob truly, besides being late. Yeah, this is the only place where if you're coming to learn, you can come and go whenever you want. You can never be late. Hafiez says to Brent, dance under the Eiffel Tower. And Mode says, in light of yesterday's lesson, what does to go up in smoke mean? Does it mean something like to go in vain? No, when something goes up in smoke, it's like it stops happening. Like he was planning to start a business, but then his plans went up in smoke because I'm trying to think of why something would go up in smoke. But it means like something occurred and the thing you were planning to do can't happen anymore. We're going to get a good meaning here. Meaning of to go up in smoke. To be wasted. When a business goes bankrupt after 20 years of hard work, you say it went up in smoke. So yeah, it's like I'm trying to think of something where, like, let's say Jen was planning this year to sell flowers at a farmer's market, and then when the farmer's market was supposed to start, it's all went up in smoke. Like it got canceled. The farmer's market isn't happening anymore. So you could say the plans to sell flowers there went up in smoke. The farmer's market went up in smoke. It doesn't mean anything actually burned, but it's definitely similar. Like it's no longer there. Hafiez says, when I hear Lurch, the butler from Addams Family comes to mind. Yes. No, that says, got it, Bob. Thanks for the answers. No problem. Brent's going to dance under the Eiffel Tower. Now we need pics. We need pictures of Brent or a short video of Brent dancing under the Eiffel Tower. Look for that on Brent's channel. You heard it here first. Brent is going to France and he has agreed that Jamie will videotape him. I think Jamie's going with when he's dancing under the Eiffel Tower. Look forward to seeing that. And then Hafiez joking as well, as long as it's not a TikTok dance. Okay, I'm going to turn off members only chat. Let's see here. Oh, that's not supposed to be there. There we go. And I'll keep an eye on the chat for other comments from members. No, that says to Modags. That reminds me of to go down in flames. Yes, very similar. Yes, when something goes down in flames, basically something has happened to stop it from working. Unsel. Let's see here. What is Unsel saying? Let me get the question on the screen. Unsel says, hello, if possible, can you tell me what the book is on the side table next to the couch in the book review video? Thanks for all your great content. It's the Silmarillion. So I really like The Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit by J.R.R. Tolkien. So I tried in earnest to read this. This is, in English, we might say it's very dense. Like there's a lot going on in this book. It's not a novel. It's a collection of like partial stories and short stories. So I'll put it over here. So this is the book that if you watch the video, it's laying on the side table, and it was still laying there. So do I recommend reading this book to learn English? No. But what I will say is, if you want a good book by J.R.R. Tolkien to learn English, The Hobbit is a great book. When I was on my journey of learning French, I actually read The Hobbit in French. It was one of the first novels, if not, I think it was the first novel I read. It's a much easier read if you're looking for a novel. So yes, you can see Jen is quite bundled up. It's pretty cold outside. I'm going to go out after this live stream for a bit as well, and I will be quite bundled up. Bob apologizing to the tripod was so Canadian. Yeah, I don't know why we apologize to things. Hafia says that's a heavy book to read. Dense is the proper word. Yeah, definitely. Don't read the Silmarillion to learn English. Read The Hobbit instead. Okay. From Boeing and Arrowing. Hey, Bob, if I send gifts, for example, devices which have Wi-Fi and Bluetooth, will you get custom taxed? Just wondering. Love your lessons, streams, and videos. So I don't actually know. I know there's been 1 or 2 occasions where someone has sent me something and I've had to pay duty on it or custom fees. But generally, when you send something, your country of origin should ask you what's in the box or package, and then you might have to prepay. So yeah, it's hard to say. If you're just sending me a postcard or a letter, it should be no problem. Other people have sent me packages and it's been fine. But yeah, it's kind of hard to know sometimes. Jen has the same thing when she orders seeds from the United States. Sometimes we have to pay custom or duty on it. Eventually we'll have to pay a tariff on it, and sometimes we don't. So we'll see. Marwanto says, hello, Mr. Bob. Hello, Marwanto. And let me scroll back. Yeah, we're good. Let's get to the next. Zeravan from Kurdistan. What's the meaning of used up? When something is used up, it means it's gone. So if you say you used up all the milk, you used up all the gas, you used up all the, we don't really use it for food. Like I was going to say, like you could say we ran out of cookies, but you wouldn't use used up for food necessarily. You used up all the milk, we might say. But definitely, let's say there's a stack of paper where you work and someone uses it all. You can say, you used up all the paper. It means someone eventually took all the paper and did something with it. You used it up. No, that says, I agree with you. I've also read the book. There are a lot of names and characters in it, which makes it quite confusing sometimes. It's one of the books where I actually have notes. Okay, this person is this person and also this person. They have 2 names. And then Fiaz, I watch it just for the visuals. It's meandering off the Lord of the Rings lore, but I'm not an expert on Tolkien. It's an okay show. Oh yes, they're talking to Helmuth. Gotcha. Freddie says, Bob, since you're practicing bow, will you be ready for the next Olympics? No. I have to get back at it, actually. I haven't done a lot of it the last little while. It's a little cold. Okay, and Brent helping out someone to become a member. Thanks, Brent. Okay. From Danilo. Hi, Teacher Bob. Could you explain what does it mean, the idiom tap into something? Thanks in advance. So when you tap into something, you connect with it. I'm trying to think of an example. Let's say someone is getting free money from the government because they found a little program you could apply to. You might say, oh, I need to tap into that. That sounds like something I should do. I want to get free money from the government as well. So it means to connect with something. I'm going to try and speed up a little bit here. I got about 20 questions to do in 15 minutes. We'll see how it goes. We do Moomin Mirza says, you missed my question. I bet you I didn't. I bet you it's still on the list. Oh, maybe I did miss your question. Let me just check for a sec. Now I'm messing stuff up. Don't do that. Oh, I did the Canadian culture and traditional holidays. I think I covered that. Yes, pretty sure I did. Where am I on the list? I'm on Danilo. Yes. Okay. Let's keep moving along. From Roel. Hello, sir. Oh, and thanks for gifting the membership, Brent, to someone. And I should scroll back because someone, Helmuth, did give a super chat and put a question up. We can say smoke over the camera. Looks like that something is burning outside. So it's not something burning. It's the exhaust from my furnace in the bottom left corner for me of the visual. So sorry, Helmut, thanks for the super chat and for the question there. And Brent, thanks for the gift. So here we go. Hello, sir. How do I make my students from grade 2 and so on speak English fluently? I am from Darjeeling, India. So young children actually pick up languages quite quickly as long as you have a lot of immersion and as long as you're giving lots of opportunity for them to speak. So I would say, first of all, start by using the imperative a lot, like stand up, sit down, raise your hand, put your hand down, turn around. Like try to make it super interactive as you're telling them what to do in English so they can connect the action, like close your eyes, open your eyes, turn your head to the left, turn your head to the right. I would say a really good game to play is a game called Simon Says. You'll have to look up the rules. That's a fun game to play if you're trying to teach kids language. From Tina, hello, Bob. I have hockey practice every day. Do we need to use an article? In that situation, no. And what does hockey practice mean? It means that you're not playing a game against another team, but you're going to go and you're going to shoot the puck. You're going to skate really fast. You're going to practice. So when you do play a game, you're really good at it. So do you have hockey practice today? Yes, I have hockey practice today. That's how you would say it. Let's see. No, that says, yeah, that's what I did too, Bob, after I got annoyed with constantly turning to the page with the name description. Yeah, that book, there's a lot of names in here. It's tricky. It's almost more like an encyclopedia or something sometimes. From Anderson, I can read, write, and listen quite well, but speaking is difficult for me because of my nervousness and shyness. How can I train? So you've identified one of the reasons why speaking is one of the most difficult parts of learning a language. Because if you're nervous or shy, you can read. If you're nervous or shy, you can write. If you're nervous or shy, you can listen, no problem. But if you're nervous or shy and you have to speak, and most people are nervous and a little bit shy about speaking. So the best thing to do is to practice with someone who you trust, someone who you aren't worried they're going to make fun of you. And the best way to do that is to find a speaking partner and hire them. So there's a place called Preply. There's a link below somewhere in the description. Hire a speaking partner and meet with them. That's the best thing to do. From Moomin Mirza, two questions. Can you tell us about the school where you work and what subjects do you teach at your school? I teach at a high school. Students are in grade 9 through 12. They are aged 13 to about 17 or 18. And I teach in 3 different areas. I teach French, I teach computer classes, and I teach a business class. Trying to keep my hand on the screen here. Right now I'm teaching a computer class and a business class. And a French class. That's what I am teaching. Oh, let me see here. I think we're having a connection problem, aren't we? Yes, we are. So hopefully things start working again. Sometimes that happens where it stops working. Okay, good. Little disconnect. Yes, everything's working again, right? I think so. I hope so. I didn't see the error soon enough, but I think that we are back. Maybe it was just me. Maybe you guys didn't have a disconnect. We'll see. Okay, well, hopefully things are working again. It's good on our end. Okay, good. Maybe it was just me. I was the only one not seeing it happen. Okay, where are we at? Trying to get through the questions, but more keep coming in. From Jose. That's fine. Keep sending them. Good morning, dear teacher Bob. Please, which is the correct one? So both can work, but you do need a D. I used to. So it does always have a D on it. You don't really hear it. I used to have a lot of job pressure, or I used to have a lot of job stress. Now, pressure and stress can be different things. Your boss can put a lot of pressure on you to get work done. Like if your boss asks you every hour if you're done, that's pressure. If the emotion you are feeling is a negative emotion, like you're really stressed, that can be caused by a boss who does that. But I would say I used to have a lot of pressure at work. I used to have a lot of stress from work. That would be maybe how I would say those. From Yumi, I found it very difficult to understand native speaker if they keep using phrasal verbs in everyday conversation. Do you have any suggestions how to learn phrasal verbs? Yeah, there are a lot of videos on YouTube. I think that is the best way to learn phrasal verbs. So do a search for phrasal verbs in English. And almost every English teacher on YouTube at one point has made a lesson about phrasal verbs, and watch a bunch of them. And also, here's another thing I often recommend is don't look at, learn the phrasal verb as if it's a new word. Don't look at the actual words in the phrase. So an example of this would be, let me think of a phrasal verb. Like to get up. Don't think of to get up. Don't look at the word get and then think, well, get means to go to the store and get something. Instead, look at to get up and learn that as a different word in your mind. That means to, when you're in bed and then you get up. I'm defining it by using it. I think that's important. We do that a lot when we teach French. Instead of saying, don't learn the word, let me see here. Don't learn the word pizza, learn la pizza as if it's one word so that you remember the article. Hope I got that one right. Helix, hi Bob. Do you think ChatGPT AI, or AI for that matter, can be a good source to learn English language things? Yes, I have not done a lot of experimenting with AI. I'm not against AI, but I'm actually wondering I don't know if I'm ever going to make a lesson about how to use AI to learn English, because that's just not my thing. Like, I talk to an actual French person once a week, and I'm 53 years old, and that works for me. But I am able to exchange, like I teach her English, she teaches me French. So, yeah. So I'm just not into AI, but it's wonderful. Like you should. Do what you can. Thanks, Laura Brannigan. Isn't Laura Brannigan a singer? Thanks, Laura Brannigan, for the super sticker. And it's your first super on a live stream. Thank you for the super chat. Let me see here. I have to put someone into a timeout. Is that what I'm seeing here? I think we're good now, but I should make a few people moderators. Let me think about that this week. Mr. Bob, the best teacher. Thank you. Still kind of the beginning of the new year, so expect the question form to be as busy as the gym at this time of year. Yeah, we're still in the a lot of people practicing their English right now. Okay, from Natalia, I'm asking about campaigners. Can a teacher or a person on YouTube or someone who published an article be called a campaigner? Or is a campaigner a special profession? Yes, a campaigner is someone who is involved in politics, who wants to be in office. So they will campaign so people will vote for them. They will do speeches. They will go door to door and hand people flyers. They will go onto a debate. They will campaign, and you can campaign for someone else as well. But it's definitely related to political aspirations. Alexander, I missed a job opportunity in Canada because my English is bad. Can you help me? You can just, well, here's what I would say. There are ways to test your level of English. You should take an English test to determine your level and use the results of that test to work on what you need to improve on. I would say you didn't get the job because your English was bad, but you need to figure out if your conversation skills were bad, your listening skills were bad, your writing skills were bad, or your reading skills were bad, or you were just lacking vocabulary. So take a test to find out where you're at and use that to get better at English. From Admir, is there some new book reviews? Because I really liked the last review. I really appreciate all your work. My plan is to do a book review a couple times a year. I do want to review another book from English for Everyone. I want to get the phrasal verb book, but I might do that in the summer. It's on the list. I don't want my channel to be all book reviews, but it is fun to buy some stuff, buy a book, and then see what it's like. From Mohammed, I speak almost fluently in most situations, but sometimes I pause and I'm trying to think of the right words, and it might take some time. Any tips for filling in the gaps? So even English speakers have this, and we use little filler phrases like if I was saying to someone, the other day I went to a movie and let me think about this. I can't quite remember. I'm pretty sure it was at the mall in Hamilton. So you can see I added a few sentences in there. I was kind of like, they didn't mean anything, but they just kind of helped. I should do a lesson on filler phrases at some point. I think that would be a good thing to do. From Priya, hi Bob, recommend some books for A2 English level. I do not have specific books, but I will say this. If you are reading at the A1 or A2 level, I would say please read something short and maybe even something written for children or teenagers, like not kids books where it's like elephant and the word elephant, but more, I think, books like in my era, I would say, I'm trying to remember. There were books by Bill Peet. Those are old. You won't find them anymore. But look for the type of children's books that parents would read to their children. That's more A1. A2, look for fiction written for young adults. So from Helmuth, for people who like games or streams, I really recommend watching streams on Twitch because you can live interact with the streamer and people over the chat. Yeah, Twitch is cool. There is an English teacher that streams on Twitch. I think Emma might stream on Twitch. And Hafiz, yes, thanks for helping. If you don't see a join button, it's probably true. If you don't see it, it might be because you're in a region where becoming YouTube member is not offered. So that is probably the case. Let's see here. From Wow. What do you think about Brazil? I think it's amazing. I really want to go there. I was jealous when Brent went there. Sometime I'll go. Our school starts at 7 a.m. and ends at 10 p.m. How can we relax? I don't know. That is a very, very long school day. I don't know what to say. Sometimes in English, we have a phrase, less is more. And when I hear of people who are in school from 7 a.m. to 10 p.m., I think it might be better to have a shorter day. You might actually remember more. But I don't want to comment too much on how other countries do things. Dimitri, hi Bob. I've been watching your videos for a few years and now I moved to Canada. Greetings from Newfoundland. Very cool. Probably pretty cold there. Welcome to the country. I hope you're enjoying it here. From Ali, do you have any website for free conversation? I do not. I do not run a Slack channel. I do not run a forum or a website. I do not have a Facebook group where people can chat. I have a Facebook page where you can see my videos. And I don't plan to do that. Maybe when I'm older and retired, I might. Like, I think if you look at, we'll see. At this point, no. From Moomin Mirza, besides Canada, the US, and France, which country in Asia is your favorite? I don't have favorites. I like all the countries in the world, but I like France the best after Canada. Sorry, I shouldn't say that. I think so. I won't say what my favorites are, but I will say this. I am most interested after sometime in my life, I would love to visit the Netherlands because that's where my family originally came from. And I would like to visit France. After that, I would probably enjoy visiting countries that have really cool flower farms because I want Jen to come with me. So that would be my answer to that one. From Asim, hello, Mr. Bob. How are you? I hope you are well. Mr. I have been learning the English language for a long time, but when I talk in that language, I think I think what you're saying is when you speak, you think a lot and you have trouble getting out the words. You just need a lot more practice. And again, find someone to practice with who is an expert at teaching English conversation. That's what I would say. From Peter, hi, Mr. Bob. How are you today? My question is, could you explain more about negative present perfect and should, could, may, plus have, plus past participle when I use them in the past? I'm going to have to make a whole lesson on that. I don't have time and I also don't want to try and do that off the top of my head. So I'll see if in the future I can do that. From Andre, hello, why can I understand your speech easily over native speakers from random videos on YouTube? Maybe it's because you use simpler sentences and structure. So there's actually three things happening which are helping you understand me, okay? Number one, I speak about 10% slower than I normally do, okay? So there is some truth to the fact that I do speak a little slower. I don't actually use simpler vocabulary, but I do speak slower. Number two, I am trained to be a classroom teacher. As a classroom teacher, I'm trained to instruct people. And part of instructing people is to speak clearly and slowly so they understand you. So I'm professionally trained to speak clearly. Does that make sense? So I intentionally speak a bit slower for all of you, but I also am trained to speak in a way so people will listen. Like that's part of learning to be a teacher. And then number three, you've listened to me too much. The more you listen to one person speak English or whatever language you're learning, you will eventually understand them well. That's why I love TV shows as a way to learn English instead of movies. With a movie, you get to hear the person talk for 90 minutes. With a TV show, you get to hear all of the characters speak. Sorry, I just noticed Mode's comment. Apparently I can read and talk at the same time. Thanks, Mode, for the reminder. That's why I like TV shows better, because you can hear that person over and over again. But yeah, go watch other people on YouTube until you understand them as well. From Shazia, hello, Bob from Turkey. What do you think about learning English at an older age? I'm in my 50s, trying to learn English in a few years and need recommendations. Thank you. I think it's awesome. I think you should do it. I don't think age should stop anyone from trying anything. And in fact, learning a language has been proven to keep your mind sharp and working well as you age. So I think it's awesome. I think you're doing great. Keep doing it. Hannah says, how are you? I'm fine. Trying to wrap this up by going fast. I might be going too fast, but that's okay. How are you, Hannah? Hope you're doing well. From Haji, what is the best way to enhance your vocabulary? So a little fix in the question there for me. What is the best way to enhance your vocabulary? For me, reading is the best way for me to increase my vocabulary. Even as an English speaker or a French speaker, or if you speak Japanese, reading books in your own language actually expands your vocabulary. So reading books in English when you're learning English should help you expand your vocabulary. So that's what I recommend for sure. Let's see. From Bijan, hi Bob, I study English by myself. How many hours should I study English every day? So if you're serious, I think an hour a day, 6 days a week is pretty good. If you're busy, 30 minutes a day, 6 days a week is okay. If you really want to make progress fast, you need to be like an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours a day. That's extreme, but I think the sweet spot where it's actually quite nice is if you can spend an hour a day. I think you get a lot of progress and you still have time to live your life. Okay, I'm almost done here. From Annette, bonjour Bob. Could you explain to me what to call someone who works, I'm fixing things as I read, what to call someone who works at the checkout and helps customers providing assistance? Salesperson, shop assistant, sales clerk, all of those are right. If they're at the cash register, you might say cashier or the checkout person. We say that as well. But all of those that you are mentioning are correct. Rafa, hi Bob, do you mind sharing your experience as a YouTuber? How did you start? How much time till you reach 100,000 subscribers? What would you do differently if you had to start again? So it took me 3 years, 2017, 3.5 years, almost 4 years to get to 100,000 subscribers. And then another, I think 3 years to get to 1 million, and then another 2 years to get to 2 million. I think I'm not sure I'm doing the math right. What would I do differently? Nothing. I'm really happy with my channel. I feel like if I did something differently, maybe I wouldn't be. So I'm always someone who tries to live life without regrets. Like I don't like to look at the past and think about what I could change because I actually like my life. It's a pretty nice life. I guess if there's anything I would change, I would exercise more when I was younger. That's what I would change. From Sadi, it's Sadi from Bangladesh. I think reading the newspaper is the most effective way to learn English or for learning English. Do you agree? I think it's one of the good things to do. But if you watch my channel long enough, you'll know that I am someone who likes the word balance. What I mean by that is sometimes people say, what's the best app for learning English? And I say you should try all the apps. Is reading the newspaper a good way to learn English? Yes, but you should also watch the news and listen to podcasts, and you should have an English conversation about the article you read in the newspaper. So I think that you'll never hear me say one thing is the best way to learn English because you should do all the things. That's the t-shirt I'm going to make someday. Learning English, do all the things. Alexander, hi Bob. Is all the land shown by camera in your property? Yes. How expensive is land in Canada and how big is a yearly tax? So I would just say this, land changes in price depending on where you are. If you want to buy a house in Canada, it's about 500,000 Canadian dollars, and you will pay about $5,000 a year in property tax to own that house. So, okay. Diligent Learning from Ukraine. Have another big day. Just stop listening to the Hunger Games audiobook trilogy. Have you ever read or listened to it? If so, when? Thanks. I read the first book. I watched the first 2 movies, and that's as much as I've done with the Hunger Games. I enjoyed it. It was great. Very cool. Hi, Mr. Bob. I am from Sri Lanka. I hope you are feeling great as well. As to my question, little fix there. What is the meaning of Pandal? I don't know. That word is unfamiliar to me, but maybe it's from a different country. It is a drug used to treat. Oh, I see. It's basically Tylenol. Yes. If you have a headache, I think that's the name brand of something from your country. From Italo, I'd just like to thank you so much for teaching me and for somehow teaching all my students. Someday I feel like, in some way, I feel like you're a close friend. Thank you, Italo, for that. I take that as a compliment. You are awesome. Let's see here. 2 more questions. Let me check something here. From Jorge. Hope you are doing well, Teacher Bob. Love your videos. My question is, what is the live expensive cost in the rural area in Canada? Oh, what is the cost of living, I think you're saying, in a rural area of Canada? It is about the same as living in town or in the city. It's somewhat expensive, but it's definitely manageable. And let me see here. Last question, and then we will wrap this up. From Sign. Hello, Bob. I would like to get some advances in production. I want to use English subtitles when I'm doing the program plans. Can you give me some advances? Oh, advice. Oh, I see. Can you give me some advice about subtitles? So I use AI to make my subtitles, but then I listen to them and make corrections because sometimes the AI gets it wrong, because I don't want automatic subtitles on all my videos. For the live stream, they are automatic, but for my Tuesday video and for my videos on my short English lesson channel, I always fix the subtitles. In terms of using subtitles as a learner, I firmly believe you should have them off and turn them on when you need them, or use them as a tool. Watch the video once with the subtitles on, wait a day, watch the video again with the subtitles off. So hopefully I've answered both sides of that. Whew. 11:15, not too bad. Thank you for watching. Actually, a whole bunch of people just flowed in. There's 421 viewers and we're at, I think, 400 for most of it. Actually, maybe that screen is wrong. Who knows? There's numbers on different places here. Oh yeah, 410. But I'm not going to keep going. Anyways, Mumin Mirza says, I want to invite you to the Namangan Flower Festival in Uzbekistan. We'll see what we can do. I don't think I'm going to make it this year, but thank you for the invite. Okay. Let's see here. I can't do a timeout. I'm done anyways. Thanks for watching, everyone. You are wonderful. Thank you for spending some time here. Mode says, you have a better chance of Bob answering a question if you leave it in a comment. That is true. So if you had a question and maybe I didn't answer it well, leave a comment below and I'll see what I can do. Unsel says, thank you for answering my question. No problem. Know that says, thanks for the wonderful hour and time with you, Bob. No problem. I hope you have a good weekend too. Know that. Freddie Wolf says, great lesson. So many questions you have answered. That's amazing. You rock. Thanks, Freddie. Anyways, I'm just going to say bye. I feel like I've talked for a long time, an hour and 15 minutes. This lesson from yesterday will come out in a nice shorter format tomorrow. I think it'll be 28 minutes long because I did talk quite a bit. So look for that and do watch it if you want to review what we learned. Thanks for hanging out. I'm going to say bye to Marwanto, Cecilia, Lolly, Bridget, Diligent Learning, Hafiez, Brent is here from American English with Brent. Know that. JJ Boss 34, Tomic, Ralph, Alexander. Bye to all of you. Bye to Mode Eggs. Mode says, thanks so much, Bob, and all the viewers. Have a good weekend. You too. Bye to Unsel, Mohammed. I think I'm starting to say names twice. I'll just start typing bye in the chat. Bye, everyone. Have a great weekend. My stomach is growling. Hopefully you guys can't hear that. This was fun. That's it. And we'll do this. I think I can do the video link. I think it will link to last week's video. No, yeah, there it is. That is the link. I'll pin that for a sec. Oh, I have to unpin this one maybe first? Yes, maybe. So I'll pin this. Pin message. Did it pin the right one? Yes. So if you want to watch this past week's video, and you should, I think it was good. There is the link there in